Hey, Nick. Hey, Dustin. Josh Sucher from Train Heroic. And I wanted to just take a few minutes to hopefully save you guys on the back end some time just in understanding exactly how to use Train Heroic, how to get started, how to start coaching folks. And whether it's on Dustin's account or Nick's, this is going to look just like you're seeing here, okay? And initially, you'll get started on a computer. Eventually, you'll probably use your mobile device, your phone, the app, quite a bit. But to start, when you log in, I want your eye to go to the left-hand side of the screen. And the first thing you'll see is this tab called Athletes, okay? And so the first thing we want coaches to do is actually connect with athletes. And Nick, you mentioned training a couple pro baseball guys. That'd be an awesome place to start. But if you just click Invite Athletes in the top right, you decide in which context you'd like to coach the athlete. Is it a one-to-one or a group type of environment? In fact, really the way to think about this is, are they on their own training plan, on their own calendar, or are they following kind of a group training plan or a group or team calendar, right? So in this case, let's go one-on-one, okay? Especially with the pro baseball guys. And then you just type in an email address. So I'm going to just type in mine just to kind of demonstrate, right? You can put in some message, but you're going to hit send invite. And so at this point, the athlete actually gets an invite and says, hey, Nick wants to connect with you on Train Heroic. And they're able to accept that invite. They then create their account. They download the app and they have access to their training calendar. So it's important in the background, you're able to actually click on that athlete's calendar and kind of set the table for them. So when they get there, there's training available for them. Okay. And so what you're able to do is jump into their calendar, and on any date, you can jump in and just create a session. The best way to do this is to take a more kind of measured approach and actually add something from your library, which is like a ready-to-go training plan. Okay, so on the left-hand side, if I click on the library, you'll notice there's a list of training plans that you've built, that Dustin's built. Any of the coaches on the account, all of that content will be stored in the library, right? So for right now, since there's no programs yet created, let's just go and create a training session, right? And I can do that directly on the calendar if I want. There's going to be real-time changes that you make like that. So if you click create session, we're going to bring you to this blank template. Your eye goes right to the middle of the screen where you're adding a block, okay? And I'm going to add a block. Every training session is kind of broken down into these sections or blocks. So block A, I'm able to search for a movement. If the first thing we're going to do is a back squat, I'll search for it. I click on it. Back squat's added to block A. You'll see a summary on the left. And then I can just add another block, right? Even before I do, I might select a rep scheme or prescription. I'm going to select some custom rep scheme. In this case, I want 3 sets, 10 reps, okay? Now, each of these columns can be customized. So if it's a higher level athlete and you know the specific load, or if you click on the drop down, maybe they're working at a percentage. In this case, it's 50, 55, and 60%. Maybe I throw in some notes like rest 2 minutes between sets. Right, and then I'm just on to the next block. So after back squat, we're gonna do some box jumps. Right, again, I'm gonna select a rep scheme. In this case, we're gonna go 3 sets of 5. And I'm not going to prescribe the height. I'm going to actually just leave this totally blank. Okay, so I don't need to use both columns for body weight movements and things like that. Oftentimes you'll only want one, right? As high as possible. Step down. All right, so now I've got 2 movements, A and B. Well, we're going to be a little bit crunched for time, so you'll notice there's a little link between A and B. If I click on that link, I'm pairing the movements. I now have A1, A2. Right, and I'm just on to the next. And I can go A1 through A10 if I wanted. But let's add another block. And one thing I want to demonstrate is we've got 1,500 movements or so in our library, but you can always add your own. And so I think this eventually will be a pretty big branding play for Elite Speed. So if in the case that we don't have something that you'd want, you're able to actually click new exercise. You can add the title, grab a YouTube link, set it up. So every time I program it, I want to see reps and weight, and you can save that thing. So it's always saved in your library. But you'll also notice that when I program something like back squat or box jumps, and we'll see this on the athlete's end, gives them the ability to track every set and every rep. There are certain instances, like with warm-ups, with cool downs, oftentimes like speed, agility, reaction, quickness type stuff, you don't necessarily want to do all of that tracking. You just want to tell an athlete what to do. So if you click add exercise, you're going to see the option down here to add a circuit. Okay, now that might be conditioning. Again, it might be a warm-up, and that's something we see quite a bit. But if I had a dynamic warm-up, and it was simply, 10 yards of A skips and B skips and lateral lunges and inchworms, right? I can add as many movements as I want. It's just text, and it really makes it easy for the athlete. And again, we'll look at that on the athlete's end. The downside is there's no actual video behind this stuff like there is with a back squat or a box jump. but you can add it. So you just need to tell us, hey, I actually want to add an A skip video to this dynamic warm up. I also want to add B skips. I want to add lateral lunges. Right, so you can add as many as you want. In this case, I'd probably add the inchworm as well. And the beauty is, once you create something like this, I might change the section name to be prep. I can actually save this to my library, just like an exercise. Once I save a circuit, if I go and next time I'm creating a session, I just look for dynamic warm-up. Well, here we are, right? I click on that and that whole thing is added. I can adjust it, but it's now in my library. So our goal here is to save you guys a little bit of time, right? So now I have like A1, A2, and then B. I'm going to reorder B. So we do our warm-up first. We've got B up top, B1, B2, and I can add as much to this as I want, but I just kind of want to demonstrate how this will look. If I click back to the calendar, I now have a session. It's unpublished. You'll notice right here on the athlete's calendar. I'm going to click publish up top, or in each actual individual session, I can publish that session. This big publish button would publish anything on the calendar, right? So when the athlete gets here at this point, I've sent him an invite. He's going to see a training session today, and he'll be able to actually perform that from his phone. And now I want to give you guys perspective of what that'll look like and feel like from the athlete's actual device. Okay. All right, guys. So I'm actually just holding my phone in my hand, right? And what you're able to do as a coach or an athlete, I'm going to click on the app. Nick, this is me actually on your account. And what you'll see is initially you'll see a list of your athletes, right? Or yourself, who you can train like an athlete. If you clicked on teams, you'd see a list of teams. And importantly, as soon as that athlete accepts your invite, you're going to see them on the list. So what I'll do in the background is accept the invite. You'll see myself on the list. Bam. So check this out, right? I've accepted your invite. I'm on your list of athletes. So if you click on that athlete as a coach, you're able to really experience life exactly how they would using the app, right? So what I can see here is I'll have a little dot under any time that I have an actual session published on my calendar, right? And then the athlete actually can click into this the same way that you can as a coach. So oftentimes we'll have coaches that will actually log for their athletes. You have that ability, right? So you're able to, as a coach, click in the top left, adjust who you're training, right? And then you can click on them and actually log their training. So here's the actual training that we just set up, right? So if you click log for the athlete, here we go, right? So you see the dynamic warm-up. The beauty of programming it like we have, where it's just text, is I can just click to mark it as completed, right? Additionally, if I didn't know what a movement was, I can click within to actually look at the specific videos. I can see points of performance, right? Anything I added will be there, but it just gives me a quick way to track that, right? And then I'm just going to scan across to the next movement. So I've got 3x10. I had a 1 rep max in there, so it's populating the real number for me. Now, if I had any question about, hey, what should I do? What did I do last time? I can see my past performance. If I wanted to dive deeper into the back squat, I can actually click these 3 dots and I can look at my history. So let me see every single time that I've ever done this, right? I've got kind of journal entries going, on the date, right? I'm going to click back. But importantly, generally speaking, an athlete just moves through that, right? So it's hard to put 203 on the bar. So I might, have done 205. As soon as I hit done, we're populating and calculating volume for them. Maybe on my second set, I only got 9 reps, but I put 235 on the bar, right? Final set, if I did it just as they prescribed it, I'm clicking the check mark. If for whatever reason I'm adding volume, I can actually add a set. And again, remember, this is a coach doing this. The athlete's experience is exactly the same, where they can add a set. One thing that we see all the time is just this fluid nature of training, right? In that maybe I didn't have access to a barbell, or we're not back squatting because I had some discussion with the athlete, and for whatever reason, maybe they've got a shoulder impingement. We shouldn't back squat today, right? So I'm going to click these 3 dots. I could actually swap an exercise. So again, if I'm a coach, I can do this in real time. If I'm an athlete, I can. But maybe for whatever reason, we're going to safety bar squat, or maybe we're actually just going to lunge, right? So we're going to go dumbbell lunge. I can swap that for a dumbbell lunge. And now what I've done is in real time from my phone, actually, I've swapped that movement from a back squat to a dumbbell lunge. Right, and it still shows us what it was initially, but now I can adjust that. Right, it's a superset. We've got box jumps in there. That's a little bit simpler. Maybe where I'm clicking this check mark to say I did all of them, or I'm going set by set. Of course, I could adjust the reps if I need to. Right, and then I'm just scanning across. Now the last section of any training session, I can just track RPE. We track automatically how long it took, but maybe I need to adjust that. And I can put some comments in here. right? So boom, this is great. Finish the session. We give the athlete immediate feedback. Now I can go back to the calendar, and I can go and look at what I have the next day. And you'll see quite a bit on my calendar. I'm a goofy use case, but you're able then, as a coach to just kind of look into what they're doing and when they're doing it, so you can actually see in real time, regardless of what you're doing from your phone, kind of how they're doing it. And there's some really cool things that you can do as a coach from here. Let me see if I can find, for example, like an empty day on the 24th. You could actually from your phone jump in here and create sessions as well. So that same experience that we went through on the web, it's limited and it's not designed. Like if I was building a 4-week training program, I'd do it from my computer. But in real time, on the 24th, I can quickly create a session for an athlete. I can click to add an exercise. And maybe I want to just throw in, hey, let's have them do, back squat. Let's also have them do some pull-ups. Let's also some box jumps. Now, when I select 3 movements, I can add all 3, or I can superset these. I'm going to add all 3 for right now as separate blocks. So I've got, A, B, and C. And then I'm clicking in to adjust the rep scheme, right? If I want like 10 reps, I could adjust these columns. So instead of pounds, maybe we're going to go with a linear weight progression. I just want 5 more pounds than last time. Add another set, right? This time it's 8. Maybe I keep the linear weight progression, and then we're going to go 6. Same linear weight progression, right? I feel good about the back squat. Great. Let's move on to the next movement, pull-ups. Now I want 3 sets of 10 reps. Maybe I throw some instruction in there, like up top. I'll say sub with ring rows if needed. All right, let's go into the box jumps. Maybe I just want 20 reps on a 30-inch box. Take your time. Okay, so now I've got the training session. Maybe I want to superset back squat and pull-ups. So I'll do that. And importantly, I could put some coach instructions in there. I could adjust the title of the training session, but I'm just going to hit publish. And as soon as I do, it's on that athlete's calendar. They're able to log into their account and actually see this stuff in real time. So, that's how easy it can be to coach your athletes from a mobile device, to make it personal. And again, we can do that for a team, for an entire group, right? Or we can do that for an individual athlete. So one thing I want to do is actually go back into the coach account. We've done this for an individual athlete. And what I'm going to do quickly is just highlight Control-C to copy. I'm going to go into teams, and we're going to create a team quickly just to show you that if you create a team, maybe this is just East High School, right? Each team has a code, and this is really important actually. If I was training a group of athletes, I'd give them a code. I'd say, hey, I need you guys to download the app. Here's our code, and that gives them access to you. But you're going to hit create team. And now you have a team calendar. This is one shared calendar where anybody that has the code can see this. So I copied that session, so I'm just going to Control-V and paste it, right? And like what our coaches do many times is they'll create a week and they'll like highlight the week to copy it, paste it the following week, and then just jump in the top right and make some small edits. Right? A small edit might be, hey, instead of a back squat today, let's clear these filters out. Let's go, front squat. And maybe I adjust the sets and reps, right? I want 4 sets of 8 now instead of 3 by 10, right? These are the types of changes our coaches are making, but I'll go back to the calendar. But now if I publish this, there could be 50 athletes, 100 athletes on the team. They're all seeing this in real time. And they all have the same session because they're following this team calendar. Okay. And the beauty for you as a coach, and let's go back to the mobile device. If you click on teams, you're able to coach, entire groups this way. So you can look at the session. You can come here in the top right and you could adjust the session if it's rescheduling it, copying and pasting it, unpublishing it to edit it, right? So, again, I hope I wasn't too long-winded in this. My point here is just setting up is really quick. You're simply going to invite an athlete. That athlete then has a calendar. You're adjusting that calendar and you're training them, right? All this stuff, ideally you're on the computer and you're doing this, but you can do quite a bit from your mobile device. And one thing we didn't touch on is just communication and connection. So every athlete has the ability to message with you, right? So you can message athletes directly. So that athlete then is seeing that. They're able to respond, to you. You'll get notifications, push notifications to your phone, and notifications up top. anytime that an athlete does anything. So if I click notifications here, as I do things as the athlete, you'll be able to see that stuff in real time. And hopefully we just alert you to certain important things. And working with tons of athletes, oftentimes you can miss something. So I hope that helps you guys. Let me know which questions you have. My hope is just to save you a little bit of time in setting things up. And I'll go ahead and clean up your account so it still looks clean on your end. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Dustin.